Hi there, welcome back to Polite Pooch class. This is lesson 2. Our exercises today are going to focus on things that are essential for all dogs. Grooming, handling, the often overlooked aspect of dog training, because everybody comes to class and they want to learn sit and they want to learn down and they want to learn stay and don't jump on grandma and all of that. However, there are certain things that all dogs are going to have to deal with at some point in their life. Grooming. Now, this is a big hairy dog, so obviously his grooming is going to be more involved than a short-haired dog, for example. But every dog has the potential to need some type of veterinary care for ear infection, something, needing their eyes looked at, their teeth looked at, their toenails trimmed, even if they don't have the long hair grooming that this dog does. So we want to make sure that our dogs are comfortable with being handled and being touched, because if they're not, it can set you up for a struggle in the future. He goes to the vet, he has a bad experience. The next time he goes to the vet, he's expecting a bad experience, so he's stressed, reacts poorly. The vet or vet tech, they need to get their job done, so they may restrain him. Now he's having an even worse experience, and it escalates from there. So if we can set up an expectation that touch is okay. Touch, I'm okay with being touched by my owner and also other people. And I can stand still when these different events happen, vaccinations, getting checked over. Even if I don't love it, I can tolerate it long enough that it can get done, and it's an okay thing. So one of the very beginning behaviors that I really like when it comes to handling is called a chin rest or a chin target. And what that is, stop talking. What that is getting the dog to come and put his chin in your hand and standing still. And this can be used on the table at a grooming, to do some grooming, fine tuning, to do in a vet office where the dog needs to be weighed, have its temperature taken, which is in the back end. You can't sit, and the vets generally prefer they stand up so they can listen to the heart and lungs. They can look at the teeth if they need to, but all of this is done then with the dog just standing still. So how to train that? We can train it, and I'll show you how you can train that. So the first step, and there's a lot of uses for this exercise, I'll show you later. So the first step is, like with most things, I want to jump start it with a food lure. So I have a little food lure here, and I think I'm going to turn sideways a little bit so you can see the dog sit. I'm just going to have him sit so he's not snuffling around and getting in the way here. I think in this case, I'm not going to use a clicker just because my hands are going to be busy doing other things. So it's kind of hard to click at the same time. So I'm going to just use my marker where my yes is it. And I'm going to put my hand out, stop. I'm going to put my hand out like this, and I'm going to hold a treat just on the far side of my palm. So I'm just making a little shelf for my dog. And he's going to come in and put his chin in my hand because he wants to reach the treat. And as soon as his chin goes in my hand, I'm going to say yes and let him take the treat. Yes. Good boy. Yes. Good job. And I'm not saying anything yet. I'm just using that hand as a food lure to get him to shove his head a little bit forward. Get some good cookies here. This is good stuff, isn't it? Yes. As soon as he's in the position I want him. Yes. Yes. Yes, you see right there, he plunked his head in there. He already understands. He's done it before, but he already understands the idea of if I plunk my chin here, I get to have a cookie. So I'm already past the luring stage. Now he's done this a few times, so he understands it. Your dog may take a little bit longer, but that's the general idea. So now I'm going to put my hand out there and see what he does. Yes. See how he just parked his chin right there? He just rested it on that little shelf. Yes. Good boy. And I'm just keeping my hand flat. I'm not cupping it. I'm not squeezing his jaw at all. Yes. And at this point, I can probably, because he's offering the behavior, I can add a verbal cue to it. I just call it chin. Chin. boy. See how he wasn't sure at first he was going to put his paw there. Chin. And he loves putting his paws. He's slapping me with his paws. Chin. Yes, good boy. And then once he understands that, I can add a little bit more duration and hold out longer for him to just stand there. Chin. Yes. And he can do it standing up too. Stand. Stand up. Stand up. Good boy. Chin. Yes. Good boy. Oops, got one. That helps. Come on over here. Wait. Chin. No, chin. You could stand up. Yes. And ideally, I do want him standing up for this, at least because of the next piece is going to be adding some veterinary procedures to it. So sometimes it helps to put them on a table to practice this, like a grooming table, to get them to remain kind of in one place if they wiggle too much. He's not wiggling so much as he's just parking himself. Chin. Yes, good boy. He was kind of off the target there. So, so that's how we do it. Chin. Stay. Yes. So at that point, when he's just staying calmly, someone could come up and play the part of the vet tech and touch him on the back. And the idea is he would just stand still and let someone touch him. And usually we touch on the shoulder. You know, those are spots that most dogs don't mind so much. We're not going to go for the ears right away because a lot of dogs are sensitive to that. But so we're going to start touching the dog while he's in that chin position and just make it real brief. Someone can just come up. And at first, someone may not even be able to touch. Someone may just come up and he may turn around and look. And if he turns around and looks, the person just fades into the background again. Because we just want him to understand, hold still, things are going on around you and it's okay. You just stand here and you can, you'll get treats while these other things happen. So you're gonna start working on that with just, like I said, the food lure is the first step. And after a while, once you have your helper, you can start adding things like, you know, pretend veterinary equipment and things like that. Hop it up. Yes, good boy. So you can see, and this made a little noise and that's why he looked. But you want people to start kind of, to add that element of touch to the chin rest so that they learn just to stand in place for it. Chin. Yes, good boy, good boy. So that was just a simple little, a little poke with this pretend, this kid's Dr. K toy. So that's one example of how you're going to use the chin rest. Another example that I like is giving the dog a target. If you need both hands, like let's say you have to do an ear swab or something where you need both your hands, you can't have one be the platform. Then you can also do it with a little target. And I use just a little towel. Oh, I'm gonna sit there. Good job. And for that, I'm gonna do the same thing, except maybe this way. I'm gonna put this target here and teach him the same way I taught it with my hand. Ready? Yes. And when he puts his chin on the target, yes, he gets his yes and his treat. Yes, good boy. And so he just now is plunking his head on my leg. Chin. 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 Yes, good boy. It's a little bit low for him, so it's not the most comfortable position. I would ideally be sitting in a wheelchair. Chin. Yes, and I use this actually with my dogs when we do therapy work in the nursing home. I just teach them, go put your chin on someone's lap, and that's kind of a nice gesture for someone in a wheelchair, whatever, that can pet the dog that way. Chin, chin, chin. Yes, good boy. He wanted to poke my leg instead, which isn't what I asked for. Chin, chin. Yes, good boy. I actually use this with my other dog. Go ahead, honey, you can have it all. Because she hated having her collar put on when we first got her. She would just back away, run away, hide in her kennel to get her collar put on. It was sort of annoying. You know, you don't want to make a bad thing worse by chasing them around and cornering the dog. So what I ended up doing with her is I spent about a week doing this chin behavior, her coming in and putting her chin on my leg, just like that. And then she would come and do that. And I haven't done it with him, so he doesn't know what I'm doing. And I don't want to make a whole big issue out of it because this is supposed to be a short lesson, but it's just to give you some ideas in case you have a dog that has this problem. Chin. So you get them to do that. And then when they come and just park their head on your lap, I ended up taking the collar and putting it over my lap like that. Chin. Chin. Yes, good boy. Now he's a little bit off target, but you get the idea. Chin. Good boy. Here, we're dropping our collar here. Ready? Chin. He picked it up in his mouth. Chin. Yes. And then I did this, fed a treat, and put it down. Chin. Chin. Chin, chin. He thinks I want him to give it to me. He keeps picking it up. He's silly goose. That's not the right thing. No, should I get Biscotti in here to show it? Sit. Stop. Good boy. Good boy. Stop. Good. Chin. No, we're not retrieving. Chin. Yes. And then I did the other side. And then I would chin. I would have her hold the chin. And again, that's once the dog knows it, right? He thinks I want him to retrieve it. But then you would start to close it, take it off, not click it, don't click it until they'll hold their head there willingly. The whole idea is you're getting their buy-in, right? You're not forcing them, you're not chasing them down, you're not pinning them down to do any of these things that some dogs find, hello Bam Bam, that some dogs find a little bit intimidating or aversive. So we don't want to make those things even worse. All right, so that is the chin rest. A couple different ways on a lap or like the arm of a sofa or something like that, or your hand. You've got a couple different options. Good boy, good boy. But this one works really nice if you have to look at teeth, like that. You can see right there. And if you have to do eye drops as well, because you can just pull the lids down and put the drops in using the hand that's already under the chin. So those are some options for you for chin rest. And hopefully our cat won't knock the camera over. But we'll get to our next exercise here.